Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This video is going to be about a sneak peek into the 2025 ICAST show. In fact, it's really about a collaboration on a rod project that I've been doing with Fitzgerald Fishing over the last year. Well, it's finally culminated into the real deal, and I want to go inside and break it down with you. Come on. All right, to give this a little context, we're probably about 4 weeks from ICAST right now. But the project that I've been working on with Trevor Fitzgerald has been in the works for over 1 year. Anytime you take on a project like this, building what I would call a system or a series of rods that are tailor-made for inshore artificial anglers, it's going to take some time because you've got to go to the drawing board and see exactly what you want. And then you've got to take that information and you've got to send it out to be built. Then those prototypes have to come back and then they have to be tested. It's not, I think a lot of brands worry about what the aesthetics of the rods are because they want the rods to be beautiful. They want the rods to have some type of eye candy effect on the consumer, on the angler, so that he can imagine what reel he's going to pair with it. But that's not the angle that Trevor and I took when we built this whole series of rods. He asked me what was important to me. I go, well, what's important to me might not be important to everyone, but I feel like I've got a good pulse on my community. My community are hardcore artificial anglers. They like fishing bass actions, but they have to be, I'm going to say, translated into fishing for speckled trout. They have to be translated into fishing for flounder and redfish. And for some of my South Florida community, snook and tarpon and everything in between, really. But I felt like we came up with a good mix of rods. We came up with 5 spinning rods and then we came up with 5 casting rods. And they're all really built around what I would say are the most popular lures that people throw for those species I just mentioned. So we're going to talk about rods that throw mirrodines well, rods that throw various size paddle tails, everything from a 2.5 incher all the way up to an 8-inch paddle tail. People that like to throw bucktails, people that like to throw big swim baits or glide baits, folks that like to throw Texas rig jerk shads, crankbaits, spinner baits, chatter baits, topwater plugs. So if this is the type of fishing that you really get into, well then these rods were designed to satisfy that need. So let's talk about the componentry first.
When it comes to a rod blank, we've been selling rods for several years. You know, we've been in the rod game for a really, really long time. And what we have found as far as blank material is that's the best in our opinion is like a 40-ton Japanese Toray carbon. What the nice thing about that material is it gives you a nice, crisp, sensitive blank, but a lot of durability also. So you get a lot of sensitivity, you know, and a lot of durability, which goes a long way, especially inshore fishing, you know. And we do a lot of bass rods too, and we use that same material on a lot of our rods, but that is a very high-end material. It costs us more money, but it provides a better product to you. So in regards to the guide train that we use, it's all American Tackle componentry as far as the guides go, but we did something a little different. You know, a lot of companies would typically use size 5 runners on a rod like this, and we always like to use size 6s, so you can kind of see this is a guide that you're going to have no issues passing leader knots through. And the other thing that we like to do on a lot of our designs is we actually use a size 6 tip also, where a lot of other companies would use a size 5. And also the reason for that is leader knots. So you'll have 0 issues passing your leader knots through any of these rods, to include the casting rods. Again, a lot of guys or companies would have went with size 5 on the casting rods, and we like the 6s for you inshore guys, you know, because we understand, you know, if you're snook fishing or big bull red fishing, you're going to have some bigger leader knots and they need to pass through the guides flawlessly. And that'll be the case with the FlatsClass rods. You're not going to have any issues passing leader knots through any of these guides. So they're actually the tips that we use are the American Tackle snag proof tips. And what's nice about this is, like, I have a piece of braid wrapped around here, right? And so you just see how easy that comes off there. There's nothing there to snag that whatsoever. So if you're out there on a windy day, or if you know, a lot of times you fight a fish and he runs towards a boat and he gives you a lot of slack real quick. And a lot of other rods, it would tip wrap and you'd just be jammed up there for a little bit. But you're not going to have to worry about with these FlatsClass rods. Every single model offers these snagless tips. So when it comes to the reel seat designs and the handle designs on the FlatsClass rods, we went with American Tackle dagger seats here on the smaller spinning rods, And always we use a really super high quality grade A cork that's going to hold up very well. You know, it's going to not pit on you near as much, and it's going to just look really, really nice for a long time. But what's nice about the smaller spinners, like the 7-footer and the 7.2s, is you can lay your finger while you're fishing right here on the blank, and you get a lot of sensitivity out of that. But the other reason that we really like this reel seat is the durability of this reel seat. You know, just inshore fishing, redfish, trout, you know, things get moved around in the boat, beat up a little bit, and we've had really, really good luck out of this reel seat. Then when you go to the casting rods, we do a blank exposed American Tackle reel seat, which has a carbon weave inlay there for added strength, and it also provides really, really good sensitivity because you can obviously see you can actually get 2 fingers on the back side instead of just 1. So that gives you even more sensitivity on the casting rods. And then on the 2 bigger rods, the 7.6 medium heavy spinner and the 7.6 heavy, we went with really heavy duty American Tackle seats on this. And these will accommodate all the way up to, say, like 5,000 or 6,000 size reels. So you guys, you know, going after, like, say, tarpon or bigger snook, big bull reds, or even nearshore fishing, you know, mangrove fishing, sheep's head, anything. This reel seat's going to get you covered, and it's going to give you a lot of durability for several years of use. And on the big spinners, we actually did a rubber locking gimbal. So when it's in the rod holder with your heavier 5,000, 6,000 reels that weigh more, your rod's not sitting there spinning and rattling around on you all day. So we really stepped it up on the reel seats and the rear end of these rods. I mean, they're phenomenal. I think they're perfect. In regards to the hook keepers across the entire series, we went with this Low Pro. It's actually a clip-on, so you can take your treble or your weedless hook or any style, and it just goes right between the hook keeper and the blank there and clips on. And what's nice about these is, you know, on those windier days, you don't have this big hook keeper hanging out to the side here to where your braid's going to wrap around it. Plus, we designed every single one of these to where the keeper is actually on top of the blank, so it basically almost eliminates any line wrap around the hook keeper. And then in regards to the butts on these rods, instead of doing, say, full cork on the rear or even a cork butt to go along with the cork handle, we like to do EVA, because going in and out of your rod holder each day, your vertical rod holder, this EVA holds up a lot better than, say, a cork butt would, and it just looks a lot better, you know, over long term. So that's why we went with the EVA on the butts. It's just going to provide a lot better rod for you for several years.
So as you can see, we have spared no expense putting quality components into this series. The whole idea behind that is not only the performance, but the longevity of the rod. We want to give you the most value for the money spent. And we want to give you something that's going to accommodate or be tailor-made for all of you that like to throw artificial lures. Now we're going to go back to the warehouse and talk with Trevor a little bit more about what the actions and weights of the rods and what they can accomplish. And when we wrap that up, we'll come right back here for some final thoughts.
So this is the 7-foot medium, and this is the perfect rod for small to medium topwater, say like a bucktail jig, even the Z-Man Prawn Star, phenomenal rod for all those different lures. This rod's also a mod fast action, so with it being only 7 foot in length, this is the perfect rod for, say, backwater. You know, you're getting in there tight, you need some real accurate casts, real long casts out of a shorter rod. This is going to be the rod you want to go to, and you can see it's got a beautiful little tip to it, and then it just loads up really, really nice. The curvature of the line flows perfectly through the guides, and this is going to be a really good all-around rod. And this is going to be a really fun rod too. You know, if you like to fight those bigger, say, trout and in redfish on a medium action rod, this is going to be the one I'm definitely going to pick up. So this is the FlatsClass 7.2 medium spinning rod, and this rod has the perfect action for, say, a Mirrolure style lure, smaller top waters, spoons, and even for me personally, you know, if I'm pulling on the flats, say the wintertime negative low tide fishing where you really got to land that lure perfectly right next to them without spooking them, this is the rod I'm going to go to. This rod is a moderate fast action. You can see here as I load it. So it's got a soft tip, and then you get a pretty good flex into the rod before you get to the shutoff point. So you've got a really nice tip for throwing really great distance, landing that lure extremely softly and quietly without spooking the fish, but then you've still got plenty of backbone to fight the fish once you hook them. So the rod I've got here is a 7.2 medium heavy, and this rod excels for single hook lures. For example, like a Texas rig or weedless style bait, or a bigger single hook lure that you're using. It's also great for bigger top waters, you know, like the bigger skidder walks or any type of big top water like that. And you can see the action of this rod is just flawless. You see how the line just flows through the guides perfectly. And this one is a fast action, so it shuts off pretty quick. You know, I mean, you can see there about right where it shuts off. And this rod has a lot of power. It's got a beautiful tip to it for a long, smooth cast, but it's got a lot of power to it. So this is the 7-foot medium heavy in this series casting rod, and this is going to be your perfect top water rod. Smaller Mirrolures, any type of like skipping. Say for example, if you're fishing around mangroves and you're looking to get a bait up under there for some lazy redfish, this is going to be the one you want to go with. So this rod has a fast action. You can see as I pull up on it there, it shuts off pretty quick. And what's really nice about this rod is we spent a lot of time getting that guide train correct. Like if you notice there, that line is not touching that blank anywhere throughout the flex of that rod, which is very important for several reasons. You know, you don't want your line rubbing on the blank at full flex. It just creates issues with your line, creates a lot of friction, and it's just overall not good. So we spent a lot of time getting the guide train right on this one, and this is probably one of my favorite ones in the casting series. It's a 7-foot medium heavy, just a really good, fun little rod to hook some big fish on and have a blast with. So this is our 7.3 medium casting rod, and this is going to be a really good, say, spoon, Mirrolure, even like a lot of your exposed hook swim baits, the smaller, you know, 3 and 4 inch swim baits. It's going to be a really good rod for all those different techniques and lures. And this one's a fast action also, so you can see where it shuts off right there pretty quick, but it's got a really nice backbone, real soft tip for long casts. And this is, I would say out of the casting rods, this is probably going to be one of your long casters. You know, this is the 7.3 medium, so it's got the perfect tip to load up and just make a long cast. If you're, you know, looking for tailing fish or just really need to make a long cast, the 7.3 medium is going to be your rod of choice. So this is the 7.3 medium heavy casting rod in the FlatsClass series, and this is just going to be the stick when it comes to the casting versions. You know, this is going to be like your Mullotron, swim bait style, bigger top waters, bigger spoons. Honestly, this is going to be one of the just do everything type rods. You know, this 7.3 medium heavy is just, it's a fast action. It's got incredible action on it. It's got a nice tip, but plenty of backbone. You know, if you need a bait caster to really handle some of your better quality fish, this 7.3 medium heavy is going to be the one you want. This is our 7.4 medium heavy in the FlatsClass casting rods, and this is honestly what CA calls his Swiss Army knife, because this rod as a casting rod is going to handle a lot of different lures. You know, say Paul Brown lures, Double D lures, Mirrolures, you know, top waters. I mean, you name it, this rod's just going to get the job done. You know, it's got a mod fast action to it, which is very forgiving, especially for, say, treble hook style baits, or even if you wanted to throw small exposed hooked swim baits on this, you could definitely get away with that on this. And this is going to be a long caster too. I mean, this 7.4 medium heavy's just got an unbelievable action, and we're really, really excited about this one. So this is our 7.6 heavy, and this is your big boy casting rod as far as the casting rods in the FlatsClass series. This is the rod that's going to handle all of your 6-inch Hercules, 6-inch Mullotron lures, you know, your big bucktails around the inlets and stuff. Dock fishing for snook in South Florida, this rod's going to be unbelievable for that. If you want to skip some big lures underneath docks and catch some big old snook, this 7.6 heavy is going to be the one. It's got the perfect fast action, A lot of backbone, soft tip for a nice cast, but a lot of backbone to handle those larger fish. So I really, really like the feel of this 7.6 heavy, especially being a bass guy. And I couldn't even imagine pulling on some big snook with this guy.
It is always nice dropping in on Fitzgerald Fishing there in Wildwood, Florida, and talking a little shop with Trevor Fitzgerald. Very knowledgeable guy, a tournament pro in his own right, very competent as a rod builder. He's got a lot of saltwater guides and professional bass anglers associated with the brand. It's very well respected. And I feel like between both him and I, we have formulated a really good lineup for all of you that love throwing artificial lures in saltwater. Question will be, will we add to this lineup? Of course we will. I could see another spinning rod or two being added, maybe a medium light extra fast, and maybe one that's a little bit longer and crisper for some bomb casting. But for target fishing, the lineup we have is really solid. You're going to enjoy it. I'm looking forward to getting the feedback from everyone. I've already got some feedback from my community over there at FlatsClassUniversity.com because they've had early access to these rods. But I'm anxious to see what everyone thinks. And then we'll formulate a plan and make it even better. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.